To witness most space phenomena and events, you need cool equipment and ideal weather conditions, but this rule doesn't always work. With simple binoculars or even your naked eye, you can see an asteroid fly by, an incredible eclipse, or even an exploding star. What's more, many of the coolest events you can see very soon. This is Infinity, and in this episode I'll tell you about the cosmic events you'll be able to see with your own eyes. Let's go! Near-Earth flyby of the asteroid Apophis. Apophis is an asteroid the size of 3.5 soccer pitches that will pass between the Moon and Earth on April 13, 2029. The asteroid, discovered in 2004, caused concern among experts and was quickly classified as potentially dangerous. When it was initially detected by instruments, astronomers estimated its chances of colliding with Earth at 27%. Fortunately, NASA's determined that Apophis will pass Earth at a distance of 19,450 miles, but it'll still be the closest asteroid to the planet in the history of observations. Because of this fact, scientists have a great opportunity to continue researching the space object. Initially, the asteroid was named 2004 MN4, but after additional study it was given the permanent number 99942 and the name Apophis given by its discoverers. Apophis comes from the name of an ancient Greek demon, a huge serpent destroyer who lives in the darkness of the underworld and tries to destroy the sun. This demon of mythology is also considered the sworn enemy of evil. As ominous as this may sound, it may not be the only version of the origin of the asteroid's name. Discoverers David Tholen and Roy Tucker, according to a 2005 Astronomy magazine report, were big fans of the science fiction TV series Stargate, where one of the negative characters was a character named Apophis. Experts estimate that Apophis's collision with Earth would cause enormous, possibly irreparable damage, but it's impossible to estimate the exact extent of the possible catastrophe, as it depends on the composition of the asteroid. When 2029 arrives with Apophis, the scientific community will begin a massive, thorough observational campaign. Some of the large telescopes currently under construction will be operational by that year. Mankind still has much to learn about asteroids, and when such a space object gets so close, there's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to study it. Asteroids will also pose a danger to Earth, and the more we learn about them, the better prepared we'll be to deal with them. Supernova explosion. As you know, the explosion of a star means the end of its life, and then such a star is called a supernova. According to NASA, the largest explosion that can occur in space is a supernova explosion. During this process, the outer layers of the space object shrink into a black hole. Stars die in different ways depending on their mass. Our Sun, for example, does not have enough mass to explode as a supernova. According to the European Space Agency, a supernova appears on average once every 50 years in a galaxy the size of our Milky Way. This indicates that a star erupts somewhere in space about every 10 seconds. Outside our galaxy, the last supernova was discovered 3 decades ago. It exploded with a brightness comparable to 100 million suns and was one of the most powerful stars to explode in the last 400 years. Scientists at The Ohio State University in the U.S. speculate that the next supernova will appear in our galaxy within the next 50 years. There's even a small chance that it can be seen without a telescope with the naked eye. Total solar eclipse. Those who were born with a thirst for wonder should be sure to mark August 2nd, 2027 on their calendars so they don't miss the opportunity to see the best of what our universe has to offer. Yeah, it'll be 5 years from now, but once that moment arrives, tens of thousands of people will be trying to get to the Valley of the Kings in Luxor, Egypt. It's from there that you'll need to look up in the sky at 12:20 a.m. local time. At this time, the moon will eclipse the sun and cast a shadow on Earth. It will last only 6 minutes and 23 seconds. This is the only moment when the outer solar corona can be seen. The show will then end with a scattering of spectacular diamond rings created by beads of light streaming through the lunar craters. This eclipse promises to be the longest of the century. So far, that title is held by the 2009 eclipse, which passed over the ocean and was mostly obscured by clouds, so it was very difficult to see and study. One might get the feeling that all these space events are not going to happen very soon. But what about the events that can be seen in the very near future? For example, an incredibly large moon, the most beautiful starfall ever, or the solar system's most famous planet's oppositions in 2022. Stay tuned to learn about these and other events and phenomena you'll be able to observe in person very soon. Total lunar eclipse. The night sky has already provided one amazing show on May 15th when we were given a front row seat to the total lunar eclipse. As you know, a total lunar eclipse occurs when the full moon passes into the shadow of Earth and disappears for a short time. Sunlight seeping through our atmosphere illuminates the moon on which the shadow falls with a reddish hue, which gave rise to the term blood moon. But this phenomenon is also called the flower moon because it usually occurs in the spring. This year's eclipse began around 8 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time on May 15th when the moon was rising. The partial phase of the lunar eclipse began, and within the next hour the dark part of the satellite disappeared. The moon increased in size as it rose higher and higher in the night starry sky. The total eclipse began at 9:29 p.m. and ended at 10:53 a.m. The maximum eclipse occurred at 10:11 p.m. It was a truly special night, but if you missed it, don't despair. You still have the opportunity to see another total lunar eclipse this November. Supermoon. At the end of December 2018, 3 full supermoons in a row could be observed in the starry sky. The closest such event in the 21st century will be observed on December 6, 2052. This event is usually referred to as the supermoon, but some astronomers call it full perigee. Perigee refers to the nearest point in the near-Earth orbit of a celestial body, usually the moon or an artificial Earth satellite. Another fact about the supermoon is that it looks brighter in the starry sky than the normal full moon. Mars opposition. Surely you've heard about the imminent colonization of Mars by Earthlings and the grand plans of modern science for the Red Planet. Well, I suggest we leave these exciting questions about the future for now and talk about something more real that will happen really soon. Have you ever heard of a Mars opposition? An opposition is defined as the convergence of Earth and Mars when the 3 celestial bodies, the Sun, Earth, and Mars, are exactly in line. Then Earth is in the middle and Mars opposes the Sun. Interestingly, if Mars approaches the Earth closer than 37 million miles, the opposition is called a great opposition. This year, you'll be able to see such a thing. When Mars is in opposition, it can be seen in the sky throughout the night. It also shines brighter than all the other stars, so it's hard to miss. In fact, the opposition is not a rare occurrence among the planets in the solar system, but it is particularly attractive because it doesn't happen very often, just once every 26 months. In 2022, the opposition is to take place on December 8th. However, we'll have to wait for the next event until January 15th, 2025. It's worth noting that during the confrontation, Mars approaches Earth at different distances due to the elliptical orbit of the planet. Thus, back in 2003, the Red Planet approached Earth at a distance of 34.6 million miles. This time it will approach at a distance of 52.3 million miles. This isn't as close as in 2020, but still closer than the next opposition. In fact, this is the last opportunity to see Mars this close before 2033. During this confrontation, it will not only be possible to enjoy an unusual and amazing space event, it's also a great opportunity for space agencies, such as NASA, to study Mars and send scientific expeditions to the planet. It's worth noting that Jupiter and Saturn will also be in opposition this year. Saturn can be observed on August 14th, and Jupiter will reach opposition on September 26th. So this year is full of space events, and we just have to wait until we can observe these bright planets shining in the starry sky. Geminids and Perseids. The Geminids are an abundant meteor shower, capable of producing up to 150 to 200 meteors per hour. The Geminids meteors are very bright and can be colored in different colors: white, yellow, red, blue, and green. The radiant of this stream is in the Gemini constellation. If you live in the Northern Hemisphere, then December 14th, 2022, you can begin to observe the Geminids before midnight, as the radiant is located in the sky at 10 p.m. local time. If you live in the Southern Hemisphere, however, you'll have to wait until the middle of the night before the meteors appear. Another popular meteor shower is the Perseids. This is probably the most beautiful stream, at least in the Northern Hemisphere, where it peaks on warm summer nights. During the peak of the Perseids on August 13th, 2022, up to 100 meteors per hour could be seen. Unfortunately, conditions for observing in 2022 will be far from ideal because of the full moon. However, the Perseids meteor can be so bright that they can be seen even in spite of the bright moonlight. That's all, guys. Which space show are you most looking forward to? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching, and see you later.